Hey friend, you're listening to Shutdown, Not Shaken. I'm Cristin Candace, and today's episode is about choices. The kind that we make when it feels like we don't have any. Sometimes life gives us a moment that looks ordinary, like a broken refrigerator. But what it really reveals is how we move through scarcity, urgency, and pressure to settle. So today I want to share a story that starts with a shutdown, a Costco run, and a mini fridge. But it's really about something much bigger. What happens when we decide not to accept what's broken just because it's on sale? So take a deep breath and let's get into it. So at the start of the shutdown, my refrigerator decided to also shut down. The day after I had done a big Costco run. I do big Costco hauls probably about quarterly, and this was like my quarterly haul. So fridge is full, freezer's full, freezer in the garage is full. And one evening I heard this beeping. The night after I had gone to Costco, I hear this beeping. Initially, I thought we left the door open to the refrigerator. It wasn't that we left the door open. It was that the temperature in the refrigerator was getting too warm. I adjusted the temperature and thought everything was good. About 2 hours later, the beeping comes back. So I called a repair person. I went and bought a mini fridge because, again, I had just went to Costco. We're not wasting this food, okay? I divided things up to put in what I could in the freezer, even though I didn't necessarily want it in the freezer initially, to salvage what I had just spent all this money on. And also, it's a government shutdown, so I don't know when I'm getting another check. Repairman comes out maybe a day or two later, and he assesses the issue, and we thought it was fixed. And for about 3 days, refrigerator is back working fine. You know, it takes a while for a refrigerator to cool off, so I left the things that I had in the mini fridge. The code comes back, the beeping comes back. I am calling the repairman again because I have been in this house for 6 years. The refrigerator was brand new when I moved into this house. I feel like refrigerators should last more than 6 years. So before I go out and spend thousands of dollars on a refrigerator during a government shutdown, when I don't know if I'm getting another check, I want to make sure that I've exhausted all of my options. I'll also say I have a great appliance repair person. He is super fair. He doesn't overcharge, and I'm just super grateful for him. But with that being said, he ended up ordering some parts, which took a little bit longer. Long story short, he came back out. It is not worth it to fix my refrigerator, and so I need a new one. I'm not necessarily in a rush to get a new one, because I have the mini fridge, which is doing what needs to be done for now. I have been working on, I've told you guys, on consuming less. And so it's really forcing me to use what we have and to only buy what we need. But I had a plan. I've been researching refrigerators, figuring out where I want to purchase it from. Am I getting it from Lowe's? Am I getting it from Costco? Is there like a mom and pop appliance place? My appliance guy recommended this Best Buy outlet not too far from me. He said that's where you're going to get your best prices, hands down. Me being me, I'm still going to do my due diligence and do the research. Well, fast forward this morning, I learned that Best Buy outlet is going out of business effective November 1st. My initial plan was to get serious about buying a refrigerator next week. They're doing some construction on my street. So even if I wanted to get it right now, delivery would be an absolute nightmare. And so I was just going to wait. But when I heard about this sale, I saw somebody say in the comments on social media that they got a $4,000 refrigerator for $852. I said, oh, so I'm going to go over there and look at some refrigerators, which is what I did this morning. I was there when they opened. Parking lot was packed, line was long, because clearly the word is spreading. I get in there. It's like appliance heaven. Washers, dryers, stoves, microwaves, and the refrigerators. I know the brands that I'm looking for, and I am combing the aisles looking for the best deal. I narrow it down to about 4 refrigerators, just, that I've kind of looked at. And a salesman comes up to me and asks me what I'm interested in. And I say, what's the deal with delivery? And, is there a fee for hauling away the refrigerator? He says, oh, yeah, we're not doing delivery anymore. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. I said, okay. Do you have a recommendation? He doesn't. Okay. So cool. So now I'm looking at the prices of the refrigerators with different eyes. If I were to purchase from a Costco or a Home Depot, it would include those things. One scenario, I was looking at a Frigidaire that was listed for about $1,400. I'm thinking that's a good price because everywhere else I've seen the specific refrigerator, it's been about $2,100. But now I got to add in delivery. Someone has to pick this up, deliver it to my house, carry it up the stairs. I live in a townhouse. My main level is the second floor, and pay for them to remove my refrigerator and dump it. It no longer seems like a great deal. I come across another refrigerator and I have questions. On the refrigerators, they have these digital tags that give the specs of the refrigerator, and then it'll say damage, none, or see sales associate, missing items, none, or see sales associate. So on this particular fridge that I'm looking at, it says the height of the refrigerator is 35 inches. 35 inches. Shorter than the width. And I said, that doesn't make any sense. The refrigerator next to it, which is about the same height, says it's 70 inches. The refrigerator on the other side says 75 inches in height. They're all about the same height. For context, I have very small margins for where my refrigerator goes. I know my specs. I know exactly how tall the refrigerator could be. And so sales associate stops me again. I said, hey, this isn't correct, and I can't tell from the other refrigerators what the actual height is. Can you help me? Because I know this can't be 35 inches tall because it's taller than me. He says, no problem. I'll look that up. He goes to look it up. He brings back an iPad and shows me in the system. He's like, yeah, that's right. It's 35 inches. I am giving him a blank stare. It's like, you can't be serious, sir. I'm about 5'7"-ish, and it's taller than me. Let's try again. I said, do you have a tape measure? He says yes. He goes to get the tape measure, 70 and like 5/8 of an inch or something like that. That's good. It's going to fit in the space. When it comes to the place on the tag where it says damaged or missing items, it says, see the sales associate. So I ask, what's missing and or what's broken, what's damaged. And he said, well, this is in excellent condition. This is excellent condition. You shouldn't be worried about that. Okay, it's excellent condition. It's a good price. I get all of that. And also, I want to be able to make an informed decision. If something like a drawer is missing, who cares? I can get a new drawer. That's like not a big deal. But if it's something else, I want to know. And he's like, again, it's in excellent condition. Long story short, I walked away without purchasing anything because I don't care how good of a sale it is. I try to be an informed consumer. No matter how big the discount, refrigerators are not cheap. And I am spending my good money on this, not knowing when I'm getting another check. I want to make sure that I'm getting something good. On top of that, I'm going to have to figure out pickup, delivery, and haul away for my current fridge. And you can't tell me what's missing? I walked away. But it reminded me of something. It reminded me of the experience that many of us are having right now in the workplace, where people want you to be quiet and be grateful that you have a job, regardless of the conditions that you're working in, or regardless of the way that you are being treated. As if a discount is enough to make you turn and look away from what's broken or what's missing. I'll use myself as an example. I've shared that the position that I have, I only applied for because the position was remote. That I would have never chosen to commute an hour and a half each way if that was stipulated in the job announcement. But beyond that, beyond the fact that I am spending 3 hours a day in my car, and that takes time away from my family, my children, my home, the things that I enjoy doing, the fact that I can't get a good walk outside in daylight because by the time I get home, by the time I leave home when it's dark to try to get to work at a decent time, and by the time I get home, it's time to give kids a bath and go to bed. And beyond that, we returned to workspaces that weren't actually ready for people, that have been sitting idle for years. And some would say they've been idle because of COVID. But the reality is, telework, hoteling, where you don't have a permanent space, where you share space with a coworker, this has been a thing in the government for more than a decade. We're coming back into a place where they now had to start construction because the structure of our parking was not sound. They weren't ready for all of these cars. So what has happened as a result of that? There's fumes from the construction. VOCs that are making us nauseous. And people will tell you, you should be grateful that you have a job. And don't get me wrong, I am. But I should not have to sit in an office with fumes that are dangerous because telework is no longer allowed and you weren't prepared in the name of doing a job that can be done at home. In the same way, I'm not going to purchase something that I don't have the facts about to make me comfortable. I wouldn't choose a job under circumstances that I didn't agree to. And what I'm asking you to do is to take a look. It doesn't have to be about your job, but in what ways are you being told, you better accept what you got, girl, because this is a good price? As if we can be bought. Do we want good jobs? Absolutely. But do we deserve good work conditions? Yes. Do we deserve to have a full life? Yes. I should be able to exercise daily if I choose to. I should be able to have the time, the capacity. I should be able to come home and have the energy to cook the meal that I want to make for my children. Because that's actually what I signed up for. And I think whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, and it doesn't have to be like a romantic relationship. It can be a partnership. It can be in business. It could be with your side hustles, where you're making a decision because it looks good, because there's this false sense of scarcity because the store is closing on November 1st. Where you should be okay not knowing what's missing or broken because it's a good deal. Yes, sometimes we have to make sacrifices in the short term to get to where we want to go long term. But then what? What's the plan? Can you hold out a little longer? Can you buy the mini fridge so that you can wait for the right set of circumstances instead of rushing out and making a rash decision? As I was walking out the store, the gentleman, I believe his name was Trey, he said, "You're not going to get it?" And I said, "Sir, you haven't answered my questions." "No, I'm not going to get it." He's like, "Well, it could be gone tomorrow." Okay. As if me not buying the fridge today means I'm not going to eat. That's not the case. I know that times are scary. I know that times are tough. I know that buying a refrigerator is not exactly the same thing as going to work and working a job. I know that there are differences. And also, we can draw from one experience to apply to another. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve psychological safety in the workplace. You deserve to choose. You deserve to choose. And you can. You can choose. You can choose to walk out of the store. You can choose to speak up and say, "Hey, y'all need to come test these VOCs in my office." Because even though you said it's safe to come back in, I'm going to say it's not, and I don't feel good. You can speak up for yourself. You can speak with your feet. You can choose something different, and you do not have to settle. This wasn't just about a refrigerator. It's about remembering that you always have a choice. Even when the world says you should just be grateful, you can pause, ask questions, and decide what's actually worth your energy, your peace, and your money. But because gratitude and boundaries can coexist, you deserve work that honors you, relationships that respect you, and rest that actually restores you. You do not have to settle. Take that truth with you this week, and if the government is still shut down, I'll see you tomorrow.